Hello, good morning everyone. Today I'm here to discuss about the phase diagram. In the last lecture we had discussed about different type of phase diagram, binary phase diagram, ternary and quaternary phase diagram. But today I will discuss about the unary phase diagram. This phase diagram was missed yesterday in the last class, and today I will discuss about the unary phase diagram. But before going to the unary phase diagram, before delving into the unary phase diagram, we will first of all try to discover three externally controllable parameters. What are these externally controllable parameters? We will try to discuss it first. Uh, Temperature, pressure, and composition. These are three controllable parameters that can be easily controlled externally. That's why these three parameters are known as externally controllable parameters. By varying any two of these three parameters and keeping one parameter constant, we can draw phase diagram. So here, this is the unary phase diagram, and in this unary phase diagram, you can see from here, for saving of the time, we have already constructed the unary phase diagram of water. So here, you can see pressure and temperature are plotted against each other, while the composition of water is being constant, is being held constant here. Why this is constant? Because the composition of water cannot be changed. This is not a homogeneous solid solution or heterogeneous solid solution or some type of mixture, because it is simply it is a pure substance, and pure substance is a single phase. Pure substance is a phase in itself, so we cannot vary the composition of water. We cannot claim that we can vary the composition of water, because it is already constant. It cannot be varied because it is constant by its own chemical formula, that is H2O. So we cannot change H2O, that is already a constant. It is a pure substance. So here only two things, two parameters are there which can be controlled. These are pressure and temperature. So these two parameters are changed, and by changing temperature and pressure, a unary phase diagram of the water is constructed. So try to understand how what is the interpretation of the unary phase diagram of water. So here in the unary phase diagram of water, we can clearly see that there are three distinct phases. There are three distinct regions. One is the solid region, second is the solid liquid region, and third is the vapor region. So in the solid region, the entire region will be consisting of a single phase of matter, and that will be solid state. It will be water will be in the solid state. It means that the phase of water will be ice. Here the white ice will be existing. In this case, water will be existing in the liquid state, and in this region, water will be existing as a vapor. But these three lines, line AO, BO, and CO, these three lines are actually the phase boundary line. How these three lines are phase boundary line? Try to understand it. This is the solid phase region and this is the liquid phase region. So these are the two phase, and a line BO is separating these two phase regions. It means it can simply be said that the line BO is simply a line which is separating solid and liquid phase differently. So that's why this is the phase boundary line. What type of phase boundary line? Because it is solid liquid phase boundary line, and here line OC is clearly representing liquid vapor phase boundary line. Where in case of line AO, this is the phase boundary line between solid and vapor. So in this region, if we heat ice, then it will come. It will directly sublime to vapor. It will not reach into the liquid phase. It will directly jump to the vapor state from the solid phase. Next, we will try to make you understand about that each point. Suppose this is a point, this point. So when in this region, if some point is there, in this region, water will be in the solid state. In this point will be representing solid state. This point will also be representing solid state. So in the same way, all these points in the solid phase region will be representing a solid phase. But a point which is there on the phase boundary line, this phase boundary line is there between solid and liquid phase. So this point will be representing such a phase where both these phases will be coexisting together. It means that latent heat of water is being taken by water at this point, but the temperature of water is not changing, but only heat is being taken by the water. So this is the this is the phase boundary line where solid and liquid can be coexisting together. Here, in the same way, if we see this point, or at all these points, water will be existing in the liquid state. But when we reach at this point will not be representing a single phase, but it will be representing two phase region, and that will be liquid and vapor. So liquid and water will be existing here together. Here the amount of heat being taken by water may be known as heat of heat of fusion, but the amount of heat being taken by water at this point will be known as heat of evaporation, because the amount of heat used by the water to break the molecules of water to get itself converted into vapor, that amount of heat will be known as heat evaporation. So by taking heat evaporation, it will jump into the vapor phase region. Initially it will be in the liquid phase region, and by taking the heat evaporation it will jump into the vapor phase region. But when the water will be at this point, it means that it is representing both liquid and vapor region. In the same way, any point of line AO will be representing will be presenting a solution in which both solid and vapor will be coexisting together. It means that this is a single phase region, this is a single phase region, this is a single phase region, but the line, each point on the line is representing a two phase region. Each point on the line BO representing solid and liquid phase, each point on the line CO representing liquid and vapor phase, each point on the line AO representing solid and vapor together. So there is one more point that is unique point. That point is unique point, and that point known as triple point of water. Why triple pointed water? Because all the three phases of water coexist together. This is the triple point of water, and this triple point of water is at 0 degrees Celsius and 0.01 atmospheric temperature, atmospheric pressure. So at this combination of temperature and pressure, triple point of water will be existing. So at triple point of water, solid, liquid and vapor will be coexisting together. And this point may also be known as invariant point, because this point cannot be varied. There are two parameters only which you can change, and both of these parameters are constant, and it is being held constant, so it cannot be changed. This is a invariant point. It means that it cannot be varied at all. This is invariant point. So here you can see only two parameters are changing, temperature and pressure, but the composition is constant. Composition is not changing. Again, we will discuss in the copper nickel phase diagram, where you will see that two axes will be there. One axis will be representing composition, and y axis will be representing uh, temperature, and pressure of the system will be held constant. Such type of phase diagram you will see in the solid solution. This is a pure substance phase diagram. In the pure substance phase diagram, composition of the system cannot be changed. Here, because it is a solid solution. Solid solution means it is composed of more than it is composed of two components or more than two components. So the composition of component in the phase diagram can be varied. So we will discuss about the copper nickel phase diagram hereafter. Now discuss about the copper nickel phase diagram. Till now we have discussed about unary phase diagram, and that was the phase diagram of water. And in the phase diagram we also discussed about the triple point of water. So now let's discuss about binary phase diagram. Copper nickel phase diagram, because two components are there. Phase diagram was classified on the basis of the number of component. So here two components are there, copper and nickel. In case of unary phase diagram, water was only one component. That's why the phase diagram was unary phase diagram. Here, this is the binary phase diagram. What is this? Binary phase diagram. binary phase diagram. Number of component is 2, and those components are copper, nickel components. By varying the composition of copper and nickel in the system, different alloys of copper and nickel are possible. So all those alloys, all the solid solutions have been shown in the phase diagram. Here, in case of binary phase diagram, composition of the system was constant, and temperature and pressure was varied. But here, temperature and composition is being varied, but the pressure of the system is constant. So what is the pressure of the system? Pressure of the system in this case is atmospheric pressure. So all this experiment is done on the atmospheric pressure. So pressure of the system here is constant. Now try to understand the copper nickel phase diagram. First of all, we will try from the left side. So copper, here copper. When you heat copper from 0 degree Celsius, the temperature of copper will start increasing. Then a point will come where it will start melting. So the melting point of any pure element is a single temperature. Any pure element will start melting at a single temperature. So temperature at that point will remain constant, and after that the temperature will start increasing if further the boiling of the element is done. So here I am trying to point out that the melting point of copper or any pure element is a single temperature. But when we try to interpret the phase diagram of copper and nickel and any type of alloy possible using copper and nickel, in that case uh, the melting point will not happen at a single temperature, but it will melt over a range of temperature. Suppose this is a copper nickel alloy in which 25% nickel is there, and 25% nickel and 75% copper is there. In this case, you can see from melting will start here and it will get completed at a temperature more than 1200, approximately 1250 degrees Celsius. So it is not melting over a single temperature, but it is melting over a range of temperature. So we can certainly say that copper is a pure element and it will melt at a temperature of 1085 degrees Celsius. This is the melting temperature of pure copper. So first of all, when we start heating, there will not be any change in the microstructure. There will not be change. There will not be any change in the number of phases. But as we go beyond the temperature, melting temperature, that is 1085 degrees Celsius, as we go beyond this temperature, then the phase, that is alpha, will turn into liquid. So the solid phase of copper will turn into liquid phase. So phase of the copper will get changed as we move to the melting point. In the same way, when we heat nickel, there will not be seen any changes in the phase or in the construction of the nickel unless and until we reach the melting temperature of nickel. So then what is the melting temperature of nickel? It is 1453 degrees Celsius. So this is the melting temperature of pure nickel. If we heat the pure nickel up to 1453 degrees Celsius temperature, then at this temperature it will get melted and the solid phase of nickel will get converted into liquid phase. So we can see that these are the phase region where only liquid phase is found. Where liquid phase, L represents liquid, alpha represents a phase that is existing in the solid state. So alpha is a solid state phase, whereas L representing liquid state phase. So there is a boundary separating liquid and solid phase region, and that is these are the regions which are separating liquid and solid phase regions. So in these regions you can find two different phase: solid phase, alpha phase, and liquid phase. So this is a two phase region. You should note that there is a Hume-Rothery rule. What is there? Hume-Rothery rule. What is the rule and where does it apply? Where does it get applied? We should know about that. We'll try to make a point. This rule is applied in case of solid solution. Because we know that copper and nickel, in case of copper nickel phase diagram, substitutional solid solution is formed. What type of solid solution is formed? Substitutional solid solution. It is not interstitial solid solution, it is substitutional solid solution. And about the substitutional solid solution, we have already talked about. So it will not be discussed here. So here we will try to discuss in what are the conditions under which we can see the substitutional solutions. So we will try to discuss the conditions under which substitutional solutions are formed, and those conditions are given by Hume-Rothery rule. The Hume-Rothery rule gives three statements. So the first statement says that the atomic size difference between element making substitutional substitutional solution should be less than 15%. And there is next point, valency difference in valency and electronegativity should be very close, otherwise or different compound will get formed. Third condition we'll talk about. Third condition. Third point is uh, crystal structure. Crystal structure of the component making substitutional solid solution should be same. So here we will try to weigh the copper nickel phase diagram on the basis of Hume-Rothery rule, because we know that copper nickel phase diagram actually represents the substitutional solid solutions. It is not an interstitial solid solution, it is a substitutional solid solutions. And Hume-Rothery rules gives a condition under which substitutional solid solutions are formed. So these are the conditions. Now let's check whether these conditions are satisfied by the copper nickel phase diagram or not. So the first condition is the atomic size difference between the component making substitutional solid solution should be difference should be less than 15%. So here we know that copper and nickel in the atomic number of copper is 29, where nickel is 30. So there is very less difference in the atomic size of the copper and nickel. So the atomic size, we can clearly see that if we have numerical values of the atomic size of the copper nickel, then it will be better. But right now we do not have any numerical value of the atomic size of copper and nickel. So we can anticipate from the atomic number of the copper and nickel that the atomic size difference is very less. So the first condition is satisfied by the copper and nickel phase diagram, copper nickel solid solution. And the second difference in valency and electronegativity should be very close. And we also know that the vacancy valency and electronegativity's difference in copper and nickel is very less. So second condition is also satisfied. And the third condition, that is crystal structure of the component should be same. And we know that the crystal structure of both copper and nickel are FCC. So the crystal structure of both copper and nickel are same. So all these three conditions of the Hume-Rothery rule is being satisfied by the copper nickel phase diagrams. So right now we should move forward. So till now we have already understood what is the copper nickel phase diagrams and what are the possible number of aldehydes that can be made using copper and nickel. Now we will try to understand about development of microstructure, how microstructure is developed in the copper nickel phase diagram. But before that, we will discuss about the interpretation of the phase diagram. Interpretation of phase diagram. Interpretation of phase diagram means three things. What are those three things? Phases present. What are the phases present in the copper nickel phase diagram? What are the phase proportions? And third is phase relative amount. Now we will discuss all these 3 points one by one. So first of all, first point is the phases present. So what are the phases present in the copper nickel phase diagram? So we have already discussed that there are three distinct regions in the copper nickel phase diagram. The first distinct region that you can see at the upper high temperature level, and that is liquid phase region. So only liquid is existing at a higher temperature region. At a lower temperature region, you can see that alpha phase. Alpha phase is a solid phase of the copper nickel substitution